A little bit of Aaron Rodgers news hit today and is kind of big, and we need to take a look at it and maybe re-examine how we view Aaron Rodgers, his threat of a potential holdout, the likelihood of the Green Bay Packers being forced to trade him. Aaron Rodgers can opt out of the 2021 NFL season and still get paid $18.3 million. If A-Rod holds out, not only does he forfeit $18.3 million, but could be fined roughly $2 million on top of that for missing and skipping training camp. Meaning that if A-Rod holds out, you're talking about potentially forfeiting $18.3 million and a $2 million fine versus opting out entirely. No matter the reason, it's built into an agreement between the NFL and the NFL Players Association. But if A-Rod opts out of the season entirely, he gets $18.3 million. This is crazy news because he has the Packers by the you-know-what. This, to me, opens the door to a trade that may have not been there in my mind. And A-Rod is happy. He's living his best life in Hawaii. He loves hosting Jeopardy. There are a lot of reasons for A-Rod to opt out of 2021, 18.3 million of them. And if Green Bay calls his bluff, I think he'll be fine opting out. And it happens by July 2. We will know very soon whether A-Rod is not playing in 2021, and it can't be undone once he opts out. He cannot come back. According to Pro Football Focus, it would be permanent and irrevocable if he made the decision to opt out. You can't undo it. So on July 2, if he decides to do it, he's done for 2021. And of course, we're going to talk about Davante Adams, Aaron Jones, what this means for everybody involved. The Fantasy Football Show
begins now. This is the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Smitty.
Top 5 running back. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show. I'm Smitty. Take a lap. We have right now between June 25 and July 2 for the Packers to decide if they want to call the bluff of Aaron Rodgers. I truly believe A-Rod would opt out. I know I've said before, I don't think a trade can happen, but this is new news. No one was talking or reporting on this, and I truly believe A-Rod would be tempted 18.3 million and keep living his best life. He's at a point in his life where he wants to stand on principle. He's happy with his life. And if the Packers call his bluff and he opts out, they lose pretty big in this situation. They may be rethinking, damn, we got to trade this man. And while my initial take was they would have traded him on draft day if they were going to trade him at all, this can change everything. A-Rod has control. The likely landing spot for me would be Denver. Jerry Jeudy to the moon, top 5 to 10 wide receiver. He already has top 12 to 15, top 10 to 15 wide receiver upside in my mind. And trying to be ahead of the curve is a lonely place. People don't like that prediction at all. But if A-Rod does end up in Denver, it's top 5 to 10. It's to the moon. I'm not saying I don't like Cortland Sutton. He gets a bump in value as well. But Jerry Jeudy is a top 5 to 10 wide receiver if A-Rod is on roster in Denver in 2021. Nobody should be drafting or trading for Jerry Jeudy under the assumption A-Rod will be there. I'm not trying to create a panic and a wave and movement where people go out and buy Jerry Jeudy above his asking price. No, go trade for Jeudy at what is equivalent to his draft value, 6-7 round range. And if this doesn't develop and A-Rod's not in Denver, you're still getting a guy that I think will outperform his ADP 6-7 round range by a mile. And if A-Rod lands there, you got to be kidding me. Javonte Williams to the moon, Jerry Jeudy, Denver, Noah Fant, Denver. This team will be a whole different team, and the defense is going to be underrated as well, especially if they get A-Rod. If they don't get A-Rod, they'll be on the field a lot. I still think Javonte Williams will be very, very good. Jeudy will be very good, but it's an entirely different conversation and level of prediction that I have for Denver if A-Rod's on roster, and that trickles down to the defense and to every single offensive piece on the roster. But this is huge. Right now, June 25, heading into July 2 is a huge time frame, one where the fate of Aaron Rodgers 2021 is decided, and the ball is really in his court unless the ball being in his court, the threat of it is going to make Green Bay make a decision. My prediction for A-Rod getting traded definitely goes up, but I feel like the Packers are the kind of organization that are gonna call his bluff. A-Rod opts out, and in the end, he's not traded, like I've been saying. I've been predicting that Green Bay is stubborn and that A-Rod doesn't get traded. That didn't mean A-Rod wouldn't hold out. I told everybody that. I said A-Rod may hold out. That's a whole different prediction, but I don't believe Green Bay is wanting to be forced into doing this. Even with the threat of $18.3 million going to A-Rod if he opts out, I still feel like Green Bay is capable of messing all this up and calling his bluff, not reading A-Rod and where he's at right now in his life properly, and A-Rod opts out. 18.3 million, jeopardy, living in Hawaii, living his best life, enjoying life. You got to remember, A-Rod's old enough to where he might contemplate retirement every year. And when you're talking to a player that's kind of tired of the game but can't walk away yet, and you offer them $18.3 million to opt out for 1 year, just 1 year, he can come back. You're not taking away his potential return. Taking a year off will be bad for him. He'd come back rusty, but he's not thinking that. He's thinking, man, I can take a year off right now and get $18.3 million. Right now, live in Hawaii, live my best life, stick it to Green Bay, who thinks they can just walk all over me. A-Rod's capable of doing this. I would put the percentage, if I had to predict, at 50%. A-Rod says, I'm opting out. I'm not going to let you walk all over me. I put the odds of Green Bay doing the right thing here at 50% or below, meaning the odds of A-Rod playing in Green Bay in 2021, those odds are getting worse and worse by the day, by the hour, because we literally have from June 25 today until July 2. But that doesn't mean he's getting traded. It should. Green Bay would be smart to say, we screwed this up from the beginning. Let's move on. Let's get something for A-Rod right now. Let's get a lot for A-Rod right now. But no, Green Bay, 50% chance at least that they screw this up. They call Aaron Rodgers bluff, and A-Rod walks away for 2021 at least and gets $18.3 million. And everybody looks at Green Bay and says, you guys are a joke. And then Adams' value tanks into the mid-second round, where it probably should. Not because I don't like Adams still, but because Ridley, DK, even Justin Jefferson, of course, Diggs and Hill, a plethora of 5, 6, 7 wide receivers might feel safer than Adams with Jordan Love, who we don't know can hang. Aaron Jones goes from TD dependent guy that we know what we're getting in Green Bay, but he's not getting the volume. He barely runs for over 1,000 yards. People don't realize how TD dependent and situation dependent he is. Aaron Jones won't just turn into a 1,500 yard back and stay healthy. Without A-Rod there, without the touchdown production that an A-Rod kind of guarantees, Aaron Jones falls below Gibson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, of course, Najee Harris. I don't know where I rank Aaron Jones if A-Rod's not in Green Bay. This is a mess, and this whole news right here, this report, has completely flipped this entire situation upside down. And it's my obligation to make sure you know where I stand, and I'm a human being. I'm gonna evolve. My opinions will evolve. My predictions will change, and you need to know that right when it happens. This is where I'm at right now. Play Underdog Fantasy. Go to smitty1.com and click on the Underdog banner that I have on my page right there. Use promo code Smitty. Send me a screenshot of you entering at least a $10 deposit. You got to be new to Underdog, and I will give you a free phone call, and Underdog will give you $25 bonus cash. Play Underdog Fantasy in 2021. All my content's at smitty1.com, and join me every Tuesday and Wednesday here on the show live for 2 straight hours every Tuesday and Thursday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern. And of course, order my text service by going to heysmitty.com. Get your one-on-one advice from me constantly throughout the day. I literally have my personal phone and my second phone that I carry around all day long, texting all of you guys that order heysmitty.com's text service. Get over there. More to come on this A-Rod stuff.
This is the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Smitty.
Top 5 running back. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show. I'm Smitty.